Salam sejahtera dan salam satu Malaysia. Kejap, mana ada orang cakap salam satu Malaysia lagi lah, ngok. Ni bukan zaman GB, ni zaman happy family. And kalau nak tengok TikTok ni, kena daftar dulu ya. Sila bagi IC kamu. We've all been in a situation where we had to either hand over our IC or MyKad to either enter a building or use any particular type of service. Tak boleh macam tu tau. Nak masuk kondo, kena bagi IC. Nak pinjam pelampung, kena bagi IC. Nak pergi roller skating, kena bagi IC. Nak pinjam wheelchair dalam zoo pun nak kena bagi IC. Kita pun senang-senang aja kasi dia pegang kita punya IC. Tanpa soal. This simple and thoughtless act could lead to some potentially serious trouble. I know lah that your IC may just look like some cheap plastic card, but it is actually a device. It's embedded with a microchip that has biometric technology. Some people even top up money with their IC and use it as a touch and go card. Any Tom, Dick and Hidayah could use the information stored in your IC to commit some horrible crimes.
With one identity card, right, they can actually get a lot of information about you. They can perhaps do some sort of phishing on you or like some kind of investigation into your background, so they may know where you're working, and with that information they can use it to steal your identity for nefarious purposes.
Contohnya, Sinchu Daily reported that a man accumulated more than 100,000 ringgit in debt after his IC was misused. Someone had been using his name to pay bills with a photocopy of his IC. The poor man now is blacklisted by all the banks. Semua tak nak kawan dengan dia. And this is also why JPN asked us to cross our IC photocopies. So, can people actually ask for your IC? Well, pendek cerita, yes, they can ask for your IC, but they absolutely cannot hold on to it. A circular released by the Ministry of Home Affairs states that security officers of gated communities and condominiums are allowed to request identification for record purposes, but must return it immediately after. Kalau tak, 3 years in jail. PDRM pun dah kata dah. Only specific authorised officers are allowed to inspect an identification card. Antaranya, any registration officer from JPN, immigration officer, police officer, officer of customs, inspecting officer. And even then, these officers are not allowed to detain any identification card unless there is reason to believe that it may be the case of false identity or that you've been charged with a crime. Kalau you punya driver's license pula, ni dia funny sikit. There's really no legislation that specifically mentions this, so most premises now ask for your driver's license instead of your IC. So I guess that's a loophole lah kan? Malaysia memang pandai loophole ni. So you've arrived at a situation where security has asked for your IC for you to sign in. What now?
So I think in that situation, actually they were just doing their job. Someone in management just told them like, hey, this is what you got to do. The reason why it's then expected on you is because everybody else that came before you just didn't make a fuss about it. But if you do become insistent on your rights and you encourage everybody else to do it as well, eventually the management will have to give in. But I think there's also value in picking your battles. So sometimes the battle is not worth it. But then again, there's value in being insistent on your rights. Sometimes you don't have to make the person that executes the order as the scapegoat. Maybe you just direct it to the person who gave the order in the first place.
Leceh kan? So now that you know, what would you do? If you have more leceh legal questions, tell us in the comments and uncle-in-law will cover. Or maybe I won't. Maklum lah, cerita Melayu kan? You know, it's not like you pay me. Anyway, click on the playlist for more episodes. Support sikit, support local. Macam tu budak-budak cakap sekarang.